Hey, Alison.
Hi, Dean.
Alison, Happy New Year. Tell folks a little bit about you, and then I have many questions, but a hypothetical question to ask you.
Okay. Well, I am a marketing consultant who lives in Nebraska, the very middle of the United States. I've been doing this for full time for about 4 years now, and I've got a young-ish child at home, so I have the living the dream of the work from home job before it was cool. And I'm a reluctant cat lover, converted from a dogs only person. I think those are the most important things about me.
All right, so let's jump into this. Here's the hypothetical. It's day one, brand new customer, brand new project or engagement. Like everything's new. Obviously, you've talked to them, because someone had to sign a contract at some point or agree, that you were a good fit. But today's day one. And so, as you're looking at the first 90 days of what you're going to try to get accomplished, and let's say it's going to like last for a year, but the first 90 days, what's typically either like the worst thing you typically find when you join with a new client, that a problem that needs to be fixed, or what's often like what's ever surprised you has been sort of the best thing? It's like, wow, they really got their act together on this. That's a great way to leverage into what I want to do next.
Honestly, the biggest surprise that I usually find is the lack of ability for people to technically, tech wise, get
Mm-hmm.
content to me. So if I need them to be filming videos for content that's going to be put together,
Right.
or sending me things, and they either won't make time to do it or can't figure out how to do it, and they don't spend the time with me to get it resolved, so they pay me all of this money and don't give me what I need and what they agreed to give me. Those are usually the biggest pain points. um, as far as surprising things in a good way, I don't know that I've had a ton of those, because the process that I there's a reason for this. The process that I go through for onboarding a client and deciding if we're good to work together is pretty
Mm-hmm.
in depth. So by the time we both decide that we're good to work with each other, I know
Sure.
what they're doing inside and out as far as marketing. I know it already. So there's not a lot of surprises. It's usually just the small tech glitch type of things that catch me off guard.
Okay. Fair enough. We lost Grady for a second, but he's back. Hey, Grady.
Sorry
Grady.
about that.
So no problem. So same question. It's tell folks a little bit about you, and then we're gonna tell me about sort of the first 90 days, especially what are the biggest problems you tend to have to tackle in the first 90 days with a new engagement.
Yeah. So Grady Teske, I've been a fractional CMO and I also do some CRO work for almost coming up near 2 decades now. I've been building marketing and sales departments, go-to-market departments for that entire time, mainly over a decentralized front. So I've worked entirely with B2B, primarily focusing now on tech companies. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the most common things that I see when it comes to bringing on contract marketing hires, in this case, of marketing leadership, is really like always trying to move to an execution bias. Like, this is my main mentality. First thing I want to do is whatever our core objective, the one thing you were looking to hire for, within the first week to 2 weeks, we're going to execute. We're going to at least put up a campaign. We're going to start to build out around that. We're going to get something started to meet that core objective immediately, and then step back in and look at the lay of the land. Because for the most part, my experience is, as you're bringing in, especially contract marketing leadership, you're really looking for someone to come in with the network and the experience to kind of uncover what you don't know already about your existing go-to-market strategy, whether it's marketing or sales wise. And so by getting right to market right away, we can start to get something, hopefully drive some early results, buy some credence with the owner and the rest of the team to see that, look, we can get things done to the direction we want. But then ultimately it comes back to, most clients that I work with are just usually hiring contract because they haven't had the ability yet to start to map everything out fully. So one of the first things we do is come in and we start to look at the entire user journey or the client journey and really map that out and figure out where are the gaps then with how we're meeting them today in that journey, and where are the opportunities to get better. And so initially it's very much about getting into that and to drive the results that the owner and the CEO wants out of the engagement, but immediately moving to then figuring out where are the bigger problems that we can build out from there. And so that's really my core focus, because I think a lot of times when people are truly hiring marketing professionals, especially at the executive level, they're looking to address a symptom, but really looking for you to come in and find an underlying root cause. And that's my main focus.
So let's stick with the CEO then for a second, Grady. It's since it's day one, you have your official sort of kickoff meeting with the CEO, and the CEO just says, "Hey, so I understand you work with a lot more CEOs than I work with CMOs or CROs, and so what as CEO should I start to do or stop doing to make sure that the company gets maximum value out of you?"
Yeah, I think this is a great question. And you're right. I think one of the greatest things you can do as a CEO when you're bringing in fractional help, whether it's a CMO, CTO, or anything, is really take this opportunity to start to focus on the big picture and worry less about the small details. And this is ultimately what we're trying to do. What will maximize our engagement is if you really build strength in the relationship of your new fractional CMO or your CMO, in that leader to handle those small details, to keep those small details outside of your scope, right? You don't need to know about insights campaigns and benchmarks and things like that. You ultimately want to be able to give me the direction of this is the way the product is going over the next year. These are our company objectives, what shareholders want. If you can give us that framework, then it's really expecting and anticipating me to come in and fill in all those details and give you, again, the TLDR, the Cliff Notes, whatever you want to say, to be able to execute from their perspective as a CEO to explain it back to shareholders. So it really comes to, from my end, I want focus and objectives on what are the top level things that are happening on a product and performance level for this year. Right. And then I want the levity and the freedom to be able to execute on details as I need and see fit. And that's what really makes a strong relationship with a fractional successful.
And Alison, what would you say? Oh, we have our third guest. Excellent. By the way, what's the cat's name?
His name is Simba.
All right.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The orange ones are the weird ones, right? If I remember.
Yes.
So it's day one, and you're talking to the CEO, and the CEO says, "So Alison, like we brought you in, we want certain things, accomplished here. How do I get out of your way, or what do I need to do to make sure that you're successful?" Which is a kinder way, I guess, of the question that I just asked Grady. Like, what do they need to do to help make you successful, or how do they need to get out of your way as CEO?
I'll tackle the how do they need to get out of my way first. Since they hired me, they need to trust me and not second guess the things that are going on. And on day one of a campaign, I don't want to be hearing from them panicking because they haven't already gotten all the leads that they wanted to get for the month. Those kind of things are motivation killers for me, and it is not helpful at all. Right. I typically set up a weekly meeting with whoever it is I need to be talking to, whether it be the CEO. And if it's not them, I guess the most helpful thing they can do is give me the correct person to be meeting with that can make decisions, that can give me the information I need, that can tell me the stories I need, and all the things that I've asked for. So as long as they do what I ask, I'm very upfront before we even work together that this is the style that I use. We will likely have already talked about their root pain point if they're open enough with me, which is why I don't think I'm surprised that much, because typically if I get somebody who's too closed off, who won't talk deeper about whatever issues are going on, I don't really want to work with them anyway, because that's a red flag to me that it's going to be hard and they're probably not going to be happy with what I do. So helping me by giving me the resources I need, being available when I need them to, and not questioning or doubting what's going on, because I'm updating them constantly about what's tweaking, what's working, what's not. So they don't need to do that. They don't need to micromanage it. They need to trust me. That's why they hired me, and
Right.
let me do my job.
Okay, so I've got some good answer. So I've got some fill in the blank questions for you guys. The reason I like these is they're essentially not much work for me, but there's like way more work for you, so it's kind of great. Your answer is not a one word; it can be as long as you need it to be. But Alison, we'll start with you. So I'm just like finish this thought for me. Many clients just don't understand.
That it takes time for a campaign to build and become successful. It's probably not going to happen on day one.
Yeah, yeah, it's not a stick a key, turn the key, find the money. I guess. And Grady, how about you? Your answer can be as long as it needs to be. Many clients just don't understand what.
It's a process. Like, I think a lot of clients come in and they expect you, even from the first call, to give them the answer. Like this, actually, let's just even make it simpler. Most clients come out and say, I need to get users, or I need to get clients. And they have one end goal and they think there's
Right.
a direct result to it. Well, it's not. You really, especially when you're hiring executive marketing talent, you're looking for people that understand the fastest way to get through the process, and knowing that, like, it might be multiple types of campaigns, it might be over different channels, but really it's understanding that the process is executing quickly, testing a lot of different models, including messages, and then really looking at results and pivoting very quickly. So that's what most clients really need to understand, that just like building a product takes a lot of iterations to finally get to a full realized product. Marketing is the same way. A message is a product, and it's going to take us delivering it a lot of times to get it right. But once it's right, then it scales. So you got to live with the process.
Okay, Grady. So here's a hypothetical. You're on a stage. You were invited to be the speaker. Okay, there are 250 people in the audience. Every single one of them yesterday started doing what you do. Like they went into the same kind of business, fractional CMO marketing consultant, right? They're brand new to it. And you say to these folks, I'll tell you what, guys, something now that you're just starting out, the thing you're going to be most surprised by being out on your own like this is what?
It's not about you. That is, I think, one of the biggest keys I can give, like, especially if you're a contract worker and you're moving again into that executive range. Your success is dependent on your ability to find and create alignment, both from the people working with you. All my expertise is built off the expertise of the people that I hire within the clients I have or that are already there. But it's also in creating that alignment upwards as well, to really understand that, is your client the right fit for you and your skill set, your mindset, what you're looking for. So it's a lot more about the people that you're working with than it is about you. And the results are entirely dependent on that. So again, if you can focus on what's really good about you, which is defining a process, understanding quickly how to work through that, and then learning how to find alignment both upwards, downwards, and sideways, right, with your clients, with the people you're working with. That's what makes you successful. That's what's going to make you a quote unquote expert in the field. And ultimately, it's at everyone else's contribution.
And Alison, how about you? You're talking to a bunch of people. They just started basically copycat businesses, but they're far away from you, so they're not competitors. You're friendly, right? You're not trying to trick them. And say, like, I'll tell you what, like something that I really didn't understand when I was first starting out in this, or something you're really going to be surprised by going forward as you get started in this, is what?
I would say that the thing that would be most surprising is that, in a way, it is all about you. Even though you're trying to make your customer happy, they are going to hire you or buy from you because of who you are. Because there are 250 of you in this room, there are 250,000 of you or more in this world or in this country even. and everybody basically is selling the same thing, no matter how different they try to make it seem. And what will set you apart from others is how you can define your expertise, your personality, things about you that makes the customer feel like you're the foremost expert. You're the only one that can solve their problem in the best way.
Okay. And then Allison, so you talk to a lot of companies, and Grady, same thing. So you're up next on this one. You talk to a lot of companies. A lot of them, everybody generally in business has an opinion about marketing and how it should work. Right? That's fair to say.
Yes.
And especially every prospect that you're talking to, since you're going to be doing marketing work for them. What in your conversations do you think these days, or over, just generally, but these days, what do they, it could be a tool, a communication channel, a platform, an idea, a concept. What do you think is overrated? Like, clients keep talking about it and they don't really understand that it's like not appropriate for them or not that useful. And what do you think is underrated? Like, what do you think more companies should be looking at or thinking about with their marketing? But it's like, it's really underrated until you have to explain it to them.
So I definitely think that, I'm almost afraid to say this, but I think that social media is overrated. It's a great way to get yourself out there, but especially right now in a post-COVID world where people are tired of having been locked away from people, in-person events and actual communication and talking is underrated. And social media at this point in time, I believe, is overrated. People are burned out on it. It is saturated. You see all the same crap over and over and over. And it is now unique and different to talk to people, have actual conversations with them, and build real relationships with them.
What's underrated?
The in-person events,
like conferences, networking, that kind of stuff.
Yes, but even more niche of like farmers markets or hosting your own events, things like that, which a lot of corporate clients feel like is too rinky dink or whatever you want to say for them. But I think it's completely underrated. Local outreach, even for worldwide corporates, most of them have branches or local offices. Doing a grassroots thing right now, I'm finding, is very successful because not a lot of people are doing it. So it's very underrated and highly successful from what I've been seeing.
Right. And Grady, how about you? What do clients believe about marketing right now that you think is overrated, and what's underrated?
How much time do we have here? Okay, number one, the number one most overrated thing in marketing today is content. It's if you go to most marketing agencies, if you look at marketing, as Alison shared on social media, everything is so content obsessed. Getting onto the trend, making sure that you have packaging aligned this way, that you're doing it out here, and so many things are driven by this campaign mentality. This idea that we'll be able to scale to become the most viral account. And I think it's because as leaders or as people that are driving these marketing decisions, they're still living in a mindset of the 10s, not the 20s yet. They're not realizing that social media is now all about entertainment. It's all about discovery. Every social media platform, with the exception of maybe LinkedIn, is about discovery and entertainment. So it's not a very good tool for marketing. And as we'll even take it further and say, like I said, content, if you're living on a content-owned mentality, you're going to be cycling through employees, you're going to be cycling through agencies, because content's not what helps build strong customers over a lifetime. It all comes down to distribution. And, I'm really putting myself out as being Mr. Distribution in 2025 here, thinking about how are we actually running the message, that communication throughout the entire user journey, and keeping clients close to their users, and so that they can have those active communications from a cold outreach all the way through nurtured reselling, building up referral networks, everything in between. So it's all about, underrated is totally building stronger communication between you and your potential or cold users, your active users, and your past users as referrals, and being able to bring them, make them meaningful, They can be a lot more one-to-one with AI. One of the greatest tools we have now is the ability to meet people where they want to be met,
Yep.
how they want to be met. And it's not even about the content there either. It's about getting to them in a way that is impactful to them, related to your brand, and still carries that message. Then at that case, content hyper overrated. It still has a value when you've got strong distribution built up. But the key is, if you own your distribution, not just on your own platforms, it could be going out and meeting them. It could be having those one-on-one events. It could be a newsletter. There's lots of different ways to do it. You've got to build the distribution through that audience. And once you have that, you can put products, you can put messages through it, and you'll always have the opportunity to create value and get value from that customer relationship.
So Grady, as you're looking at a potential opportunity, like a new prospect, new client, what's like one red flag and one green flag that you like to keep an eye out?
Yeah, I work a lot with early stage tech companies,
Right.
so the entire process is a red flag, right? It's the hard thing there is to say, like, who's going to be a good fit. We never really know, but the key things that we are looking at is fit. Fit is a big determinant. So one green flag is I'm always looking for people that can communicate their focus and their objective. And a lot of times, this is the first 1 to 3 calls we do, is bringing it down to what are the 1 to 2 things that you want to accomplish over the next period of time that we can lock in and we can actually achieve things for you. So if someone can, first of all, develop the focus and then get good at communicating, I know they'll be successful because they'll be able to lead me and we'll be able to use them to create authority around them and their focus. So that's the first green flag.
Yeah.
The red flag on the opposite side of it is really, it's actually the same flip of the coin there. It's people that are constantly shifting goals and priorities, which again, I'm working in early stage tech. You're pivoting constantly. You're always changing, but you need to keep those core focuses of what you need done. And you can tell this right away because, you within the first month, they're building on a campaign mentality and they want to go out and launch this idea on social. It doesn't work. It doesn't see the results. So now we need to switch to this. We need to switch that. Again, it's all about building a process. If you're slow and methodical about creating that distribution, laying out the automated marketing processes that align with a map of your customer journey, then you can win successfully over the long haul. I can tell you, no tech startup that I'm aware of has ever gained long-term success by just having one viral piece of content that's
Right.
shipped. So that's the green flag is focus and being able to communicate that. The red flag is like not having that focus and moving too quickly from shiny object to shiny object.
And Alison, when you're talking to prospective clients, what's a red flag and what's a green flag you keep an eye out for?
Red flag for sure, what Greg said, when somebody is moving from shiny object to shiny object and you're just getting starting on a campaign and they come to you and say, oh, I just heard that somebody else, some other guru said that we need to be on Pinterest and we need to develop a strategy there. And it's difficult to get them back on track with, no, this is the strategy here. We're working on this. And I always say, I think this has been repeated a million times. Everything works and everything doesn't work. So not telling you that Pinterest wouldn't work, but we already are in the middle of working on an email campaign and building up your newsletter and meeting people here. So let's continue working on that. And when we get through that, we can do here. So the red flag is the people who refuse to stay the course and continue trying to drag you in all these different directions. A green flag for me is somebody who is very open about sharing their stories or sharing stories of their company. I love storytelling. I think probably most marketers do. And I have run into so many people who are private about stories that didn't have a good ending, that were part of their development and didn't have a shining success or whatever. They don't want to share the things that they learned, which is what makes them seem human to their prospects. So somebody who won't share that kind of thing is very frustrating and a huge red flag for me.
All right, that's a great answer. Okay, so one of the weirdnesses of this podcast is that every guest books their own time and date, which means there's typically two guests, but there's no curation, right? And so you just randomly show up and you're sort of paired, in this tiny little phone booth looking kind of video screen with someone else who is also in marketing, but you have no idea who they are or what they do. Certainly not before you show up here. And so what we do now, starting in season 6, I think, and this is the first episode of season 7, is we let the guests ask each other a question. It can be any question you want. It can be anything from, who's your bookkeeper, to how do you find clients, to what do clients push for these days, or how's, budgeting and strategy in 2025, shifting, anything you want. And so, Alison, I'll let you ask Grady any question you would ask if you happen to notice, hey, I'm in an elevator with someone in roughly the same position as me. I would love to know this. I would love to know what they deal with. What question would you like to ask Grady? And then Grady, you ask Alison whatever question you want after you answer her question, I guess.
I really wanted you to have him go first.
Sure, Grady, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I really wanted you to go first, Alison. I will go first. That's fine.
That'll be my next question. Who would you want to go first?
No, Alison. I guess the question I would ask is, what's the when you meet a client for the first time and they've reached out to you to do marketing? What are the 3 things that you want to hear in that call that really let you know, like, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to work with this client. What are the 3 things you're looking for?
I want to hear that they're really passionate about the transformation that they can provide for their clients, whether that be a barbershop providing an actual transformation looks wise, or a kung fu school that provides a confidence transformation, whatever it is. I typically don't work with people who are just mass selling products. So I want to hear that they provide some sort of transformation and that they really, really believe in it. It's not just a way to turn money into their lives. I want to hear that they are interested and open to new ideas that they might not be doing now, and that they are not somebody who's going to push back on every single thing that I suggest or that anybody else might suggest on my team. Let's see, the third one. I mean, this might not seem to be the most professional thing to most people, but I want to hear that they have somewhat of a sense of humor, just because I don't want to work with somebody who can't laugh a little bit, because then it's no fun for me. And that's the main reason that I do this, or one of the main reasons, is because it's fun. So if somebody's too serious, they're a bad fit for me.
100%. Yeah.
And Alison, what's your question?
So my question is, what I think this is one I always ask. What prompted you to get into this field? Has this been lifelong, or did you make a career change at some point? How did you get here?
Yeah, this is a great question. So let me just say this. I have a twin brother, and he went into sociology, and I went into marketing. So that maybe
both in the same field, basically.
Yeah, yes, exactly, because it maybe eliminates it a little bit. I just saw there was an opportunity to take action once you understand what people are looking for. But it hasn't been a direct line for me. I started off studying marketing, then going into sales, building up and growing. I became an executive first on the sales side, and then I saw an opportunity. I saw that marketing itself was moving from a staff role within a company to moving into the line role. And it was, like I said, understanding people and being able to take action on that was really exciting to me. So I completely left the sales executive leadership ranks, and I built myself up from scratch over the last 9 years or so as a marketing leader. And now I focus almost entirely on marketing. And it ultimately comes down because I think that what's really exciting about marketing is that number one, it is distribution. So in this digital age, marketing is encompassing of sales, it's encompassing of product delivery, it's encompassing of follow-up. It's really the one thing that is always connecting the product and the users together. And so on that sense, to me at least, I feel like I'm one of the most important parts of the process. And on the second side, the thing that really makes it valuable is people come to us as marketers and they say, look, we've got this thing. We think it can make an impact. We think it does that. Well, we figure out, does it actually do that? Or what does it do that people really like about it? And then we build on that. So at the end of the day, most of the time, people are coming to us with a blank box, the Mario Brothers mystery on it, right? And we get out there, we figure out what it is. It's totally different than what we anticipate a lot of the time. And we get to make people happy because now they're happy they're using the product. The owners and the clients are happy because sales are growing and they're getting the value from it. And I'm happy because I've always sneakily built my success on creating alignment for these two different groups. And usually most of the time people don't even notice me that when that's done. So that's what I like about marketing, to make it all really concise, is I can make a powerful impact in multiple types of people's lives. And most of the time they don't even realize I was there. And that feels great.
So it's time. That's a great answer, by the way. Thanks very much. So it's time to wind down. Alison, these days, who should be contacting you and how should they do it?
Well, I work with business owners who provide a transformation in the lives of their clients, and it doesn't have to be plastic surgery, but something other than, I don't typically work with just straight e-commerce brands. So anybody who is changing the lives of their clients in some way or another should contact me if they need help looking at a fresh perspective or a different way to do their marketing. And being a Gen Xer, I guess I am proud to say I am firmly Team Facebook. We love Facebook. I don't know why we cannot break away. And that's where you can get me, right on my personal profile. I have a business page, but anybody who knows anything about Facebook knows that business pages are for boosting and nothing else. So you can come on there and learn all about me. You can message me, whatever you'd like. I'm also on every other platform, but that's my favorite one.
All right. And Grady, how about you? Who should be contacting you these days and how should they do it?
Yeah, so I work as a fractional CMO with early stage B2B tech companies. And also I work with, we've got a new audience that's really built up over the last year specifically, which is if you're owner of a SaaS company and you're probably 5 to 15 years into it and you've been building off a sales model and you're starting to think, well, with AI and marketing, everything growing, I'd like to add marketing. This has been a really good market for us as well, because what I do as a CMO is a lot of times I build up small marketing teams to larger amounts. And then I've also built a marketing agency underneath me called Rising Tides. And what they do is they take the same model I put into Series B and C level companies, and they do it at an early stage. So they come in and they help to build your marketing automations. They do your data cleansing, your CRM, and then we do all the great outreach and messaging stuff, both on social, directly, and through a lot of different campaign mentalities to help companies grow. So if you're launching a tech product that's either going to sell as a software, it's infrastructure, things like that, or if you've got a sales-focused model and you're looking to grow and start to use marketing automations and make it more regular and reliable, you're a perfect fit. And you can find me on LinkedIn here. I've got the information right here. I'm also on Twitter on a very regular basis. And of course, you can find me on risingtides.io, which is the agency site. Any of those opportunities will allow you to get in contact with me and the team. And we've got a lot of packages where we do fully guaranteed support, building out your marketing automation to create a distribution model for your company.
All right. Alison, Grady, thanks so much for being here. You're on episode 151 and the first recording we've made in 2025.
Woo!
Yeah, I know.
Did it.
Yes.
We did it. It's done. Phew. All right. Thanks again for being here. This has been fantastic. Thanks for watching. You're probably watching it as a clip, but we always, however you want to watch it, we're glad to have you. We'll catch everyone next time.